Hello, everybody. This is José Ignacio from the Uncomfortable Dialogues 2022.
I am honored and delighted to present to you Brett Ram. Brett is an exceptional marketing guru. He's a close friend of mine. We have been working for quite a few years. But importantly, he has been working in most of the leading corporations in the world. Oracle, Amazon, Starcom, and Procter & Gamble. His core expertise has been on digital and traditional marketing, strategic business development, and more recently on business analytics. Without any further ado, welcome to our Uncomfortable Dialogue 2022, Brett. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for the invite, Nacho. It's an honor to be here.
No, it's really an honor to have you here. So, how's life over there?
Life is good. It's a cloudy day in Manhattan today, but a little bit warmer than it was last week, so not complaining.
Excellent. Hey, Brett, tell me more about what you think about leadership facing adversity.
That's a really good question. I think that's really important because I think that's when it really matters. It's easy to lead your way through things under normal or positive situations, but you really find out who's who leadership wise when when there are challenges. That's when the delivery is no longer trivial. That's when people need to really step up leadership wise, and that's when also the teams that you're working with find it most challenging to move forward. So I think that that's a true litmus test of the leader's quality and of the relationship between the leader and the team. It's easy to follow people when things are simple, but you really know that you have a good, strong team and that you're being effective as a leader when people are following you and you're making difficult choices. So I think that that's really important. And, I think that the idea that when you face adversity, you shouldn't be looking at it as a one-time situation that you're going to resolve it and then move on. You should kind of embrace that. There's the idea that the obstacle is the way, I think is something that's really important. You see that adversity, how you deal with it helps enrich and inform who you are and the kind of leader you become. And it
Mhm.
also helps give you the tools to deal with the next challenge. I think adversity is a little bit like the shark's teeth. You move one, you deal with it, there's another one behind, then there's one behind that and the next. And if you're surprised by that, you're going to be continually disappointed. If you're expecting that, then if you get a little bit of a break, you're very happy. And if they come up, well, that's what you're expecting, and you learn to deal with them using the lessons you had before.
Exactly. And actually, all these adversities are very sharp. So, it's like the sharp teeth. It's very
This
good.
is true. They can be jagged and and very painful if you're not careful.
Exactly. Hey, listen, I know that you have been living in multiple countries. I mean, we met in Venezuela, but you are from Jamaica and Belize, and you have been living in Mexico and now in America. So, throughout this experience and working in multiple companies, I assume that you have developed a set of skills. You have a very big toolbox of skills. From this toolbox, can you tell us what are the two or three things that you are using the most facing adversity?
Okay, no, that's a great question. I think one of the biggest things is to have the right mindset. I think that that is more important than the specific individual tools that you have or the specific techniques that you use. And I think one of the most important ideas I learned at Procter a long time ago is the idea of peeling the onion. When you have a problem, you should go through it, structure your understanding of the problem, start talking about it at a high level, and then go through it to figure out what's going on. And then once you
Mhm.
figured it out, when you go to explain it to people, you should use again the same peel the onion approach, and take them through a big picture, medium picture, finally granular picture afterwards. So I think that that's a really important tool. Another one that's really important is somewhat related. It's the idea of the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. When you have a tough situation, it's really important to realize what is really important, what is critical that you absolutely need to solve immediately, what you need to solve, but it should be solved a little bit later, and what really you can get away with not focusing on. Because in moments of crisis, attention is a very, very, very important, very scarce resource. So it's important not to be distracted. So I think that's really important. Another thing is something that I learned from my dad a long time ago, and that is the importance of learning. And I think, all good leaders know that learning is important, but there's a corollary to that. You should learn to be selective about what you learn, because everything that you learn represents something that you're excluding. It's only finite bandwidth available for you to be learning things, and every book that you read means that there's a book you're not reading. So be very jealous and very careful about what you read, what you invest time in, particularly in technology. You have to be careful too, because there are a lot of things that you could learn that are very complicated and that will take a lot of effort, and probably you're not going to retain a lot of utility from these things a few years down the line.
Brett, I have one final question to you. Evidently, each adversity has the potential to move us out of our circle of comfort. It feels that we're in a crescendo mindset where each adversity that we have already solved is perhaps smaller than the ones coming in the pipeline. So what is your point of view? Do you believe that the future is going to be easier or is going to be tougher?
Well, I think that the future is going to be very positive, I believe. And the reason I believe that is I think that the problems tend to be increasing in a linear fashion, and the capacity that we have to solve these problems increases even faster. I think it increases exponentially. And the reason I think that is, like you think of problems like food problems or crowding problems and so on are related to, raw number of people out there. But I think of things like brain power and network effect. The more brains you get connected, like things like the internet, or supercomputers connected to each other, um, allows us to have many more tools, much more power than before. So I think that we can be hopefully much more optimistic in the you know regarding the future because of that. I do think it's important to not take it for granted, but just looking at what happened with COVID, for example, we have driven as a species habit change and carefulness, and almost, knock on wood, almost overcome some of the challenges associated with that in a relatively short time. In 2 years, we've taken something that was devastating and you know tremendously challenging, and we have more or less wrestled it down to a situation that we're much more comfortable with. And I think we can almost see the tail end of that. I think that, as we continue to benefit from that network effect, I think that we will grow and keep increasing the capacity that we have to solve these problems. That's why I'm
Excellent.
optimistic.
So in a way, the adversities will be bigger, but we'll have far more capability by working together.
Yes, I think, the adversities might be doubling, but the network power is going to be, by
Tenfold,
quadratically,
yes.
yeah, exponentially increasing.
That's a very interesting thinking. Thank you very much. Hey, Brett, thank you very much for the time. It's really a joyful conversation today. So I really appreciate your time. And for everybody that's watching this dialogue, if you happen to have any question to Brett or to myself, just write it down here in LinkedIn and YouTube, and we'll get back to you.
A pleasure and a privilege. Thanks so much, José Ignacio.